Hello, John. We're back again here with John DiLeo for another talk about another person who didn't get an Oscar when he might have deserved it. John?
Okay, I'll take it away, Nick. Thank you. The book, as some of you know, not even nominated, 40 overlooked co-stars of Oscar-winning performances. And today we're going to talk about Sidney Poitier, there he is, for In the Heat of the Night. Now, at this point, in 1967, Poitier had already won the Oscar, 1963, for Lilies of the Field. Now, in this case, in The Heat of the Night, won Best Picture of 1967, and Poitier's co-star, Rod Steiger, won as Best Actor, but Mr. Poitier himself was not nominated for Best Actor alongside Rod Steiger. Now, you'd say, why? Because they are both, equally the star of this movie. I'd say even probably Poitier is more the star than Steiger is. And it's the signature role for Sidney Poitier. Virgil Tibbs, the homicide detective from the North. He's here solving a murder in the South. When they made two sequels, it was based on the Virgil Tibbs character. They Call Me Mr. Tibbs and The Organization, both in the early 70s. So clearly this was a big one for him. So what went wrong with the Oscars? Well, this is an easy one to analyze because Poitier had such an amazing 1967 that people didn't know what to vote him for as Best Actor. And so I'm sure he split the vote with himself. So some people probably put him on the ballot for To Sir with Love, others maybe for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and others for In the Heat of the Night.
Those were all three the same year?
Yes, it was the biggest year of his career by far. That's the pinnacle. And so he probably came in 6th, 7th, and 8th for those three performances, while 5 other guys, including Rod Steiger, got in the race. And, I love Sidney in this so much because not only is he terrific and intelligent, smartest guy in the room, solving this murder, nobody's in his league in the community, including the police chief played by Rod Steiger. But it's also this kind of gleaming movie star performance where he's just got such charisma. It's just, you can't take your eyes off him. And so it's that particular magic, what you call star quality. The guy is a terrific actor, and he's got that something that makes you a movie star. And in this performance particularly, there he is. And one of the things, this movie was, it won Best Picture over Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate, two films that quickly surpassed it as being considered better, more long-lasting in the history of American film. But this one was the one that got it, and it has much to commend. I don't think it's as good as the other two movies I just mentioned, but it's a good movie. And one of the things I like about it, and I think holds up, is that you have an African-American police detective from the North sort of forced to deal with this kind of good old boy police chief from Mississippi, played by Steiger. And they're going to work together. They're going to solve the crime. Well, Sidney solves the crime. But it never becomes a buddy movie. They come to a kind of mutual understanding, a mutual respect. It's nicely restrained. It doesn't go overboard into making it a little too easy. And so I think that's one of the strengths of this movie. Steiger is excellent, but no getting around that. It's just, it really is much more of a 50-50 kind of thing, and not the kind of thing where one guy, well, it's his movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The relationship kind of reflected the times, the civil rights movement that was...
Well, it was certainly, and I think probably that's part of why it won the Oscar. It was dealing with race relations in 1967, so it was kind of a very hot button topic. I guess it kind of always will be, unfortunately, that these tensions are present. And this is, as direct as you can get. He's only down there accidentally visiting his mother, and when they find out who he is, his bosses up north say, why don't you stay, help those people out and solve the murder. So, in fact, he doesn't want to be there, and they don't want him there. So it's this kind of forced situation which is kind of dramatically very interesting and very good. So I think that's kind of cool. And you know, the character of Virgil Tibbs is such an impressive fellow that, you know, wherever he goes, people are kind of like, wow. And of course, the famous scene where he slaps the rich white guy, and apparently audiences gasp, and I think it still has a power. And so there are many reasons why the movie still holds up.
Did I understand correctly that he was nominated for the other two performances?
No,
But
not. He was wiped out that year. You know,
so he was nominated for any of those three?
no.
Wow.
He canceled himself out. He had been nominated earlier in 1958 for the Defiant Ones with Tony Curtis, and then he won. And that, but yeah, this still 1967 is still the big year for him.
And when they vote for the Oscars, you only get to vote for one, or you get to vote for your top three, or
I believe when they're nominating, and certainly then you would give your top 5 choices, and they just see who got the most votes. And so it often happens with people canceling themselves out. Or nowadays they're more likely to force you to submit yourself for a supporting role if you have 2 movies that year, even if they're both lead roles, just so you don't do that to yourself.
yeah.
And
It seems like
it's
now more people
ridiculous.
do movies once every 5 years than 3 in the same year, like they used to do.
Yeah, and so it's a obviously very polluted system. It's awards. It doesn't really, you know, it's just something to talk about and argue about, and just, you know, have a fun movie conversation about what should have happened, what didn't happen, what you support, what you hate, you know, all that stuff that
Yes.
people who love movies love to kick
Right.
around.
Well, it made a good episode of not even nominated. Thanks for telling us about that, John.
Thanks, Nick.